Right, so now we're going to be talking about Shiba Inu, but before we do so, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also make sure to hit that bell button right there so you can get notified about all the TAs that we're constantly bringing you on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, right? So also please follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Ali_charts. You can also follow my co-host, Jonathan at Just Analysis 1, and you can follow Akash at Macinco with a 0 at the end. So when we're looking at Shiba Inu from an on-chain perspective, I mean, one of the main things that we can notice, right, is that Shiba Inu sits on what can be thought as a stable support, but the most significant support point underneath Shiba Inu right now sits between 24 and 25, right? But on the other hand, right, the most significant resistance level ahead of this cryptocurrency basically sits between 28 and 29, where roughly 16 trillion Shiba Inu were bought by 32,000 addresses, right? So what this tells us is that a decisive daily candlestick close above 29 cents, about 29 cents or whatever you can call this, could potentially result in the resumption of the uptrend for this cryptocurrency, right? But what it continues to trace below this price point, right? There is basically an increasing chance that these 30,000 addresses that bought over 16 trillion Shiba Inu right here, they could be inclined to sell, right, to prevent their investments from going out of the money, which could potentially see Shiba Inu retrace towards that 24 cents level. But it is critical to notice that during the recent downswing towards 24 cents, basically there were a lot of buying pressure, right? Where now Shiba Inu is basically sitting above of stable support, what can be considered stable support. But yeah, daily candlestick close above 29 will basically, send Shiba Inu towards higher highs as there is no significant resistance level ahead of it, right? You can also see it based on the global in and out of the money around price, right? Where we can see is that, I mean, the most area of the most significant demand barrier basically sits around 21 cents, where 50,000 addresses bought basically something like 42 trillion Shiba Inu, right? Where, that same significant area of demand right here and supply cannot be seen in any other of these price points, right? So as of right now, as long as Shiba Inu continues to hold above 21 cents, basically the odds will continue to favor the bulls, and yeah, we could see a potential upswing towards 50 or even 60. Now, when we look at the number of large transactions, the number of large transactions on the network are rising over the past few days, right? So there has been roughly a 200% increase in large transactions since basically October 17th, where basically it's telling you that institutional investors or large investors as well as whales are coming back into the network, right? But once again, we will need to wait for a decisive close of 29 cents to be able to confirm the bullish outlook for this cryptocurrency. Now, when we look at the number of active addresses on the network, or the number of new addresses joining the network, although there's been a significant upswing, right, where basically on October 17th, there were roughly 8,000 addresses joining the network. And then yesterday on October 18th, there were 9,600 addresses. I mean, despite this upswing that we see here, I mean, we would like to still see a bigger number of addresses joining the network before we can turn bullish on this coin based on the network activity, right? But yeah, once again, just wait for that decisive close up above 29 cents, so you can target something like 50 or even 60. Once again, right, any downswings below 21 cents is basically, it will be extremely bearish, as the next area of support sits around 11. So yeah, that's kind of like my take on Shiba Inu. I don't know if you're seeing something different from a technical perspective, Jonathan.
Only a little bit. So looking at the point and figure chart, negating there. So there's an inverse head and shoulder pattern on the chart here, and the breakout above that head and shoulder pattern coincides with the break of this a prior bear flag. And so for me, it would have to be a close roughly at 31 to 32 to really confirm another leg higher. On the short side of it, on the bear side, it's set up very nicely for a steep drop. So there's this pattern here where you have this double top at 27, and then you move up 2 more boxes to 28 and 29, 2 boxes above the double top. If you get another O column to form and you create a condition where it forms a triple bottom, you get a sell entry at 23. Now, a triple bottom itself is a very bearish setup in point and figure. It's one of the most sought after. But because there was that double top with the 2 boxes above, that creates a pattern in point and figure known as a bullish fake out. It's a type of a bull trap. It's a stronger version of a bull trap. And the fact that would occur at the break of this prior bear flag, I mean, it's a very ugly setup, and the projected range is a return. I mean, I don't think it would get down there, but that is the max pointing. I mean, this shouldn't take that using the vertical. This actually the horizontal profit target method and point figure analysis. That level down there at 0.00007 is, I don't know, use your head a little bit. Is that realistic? It is. Is it probable? Probably not. But it should give you an idea of the range, at least, that a break below 23 could generate. Certainly, you know, it's hard to read where it's at because it just hasn't been traded enough. Even with the volume profile, it's hard to determine where a confluent zone with even fib retracements and volume profile would provide support. But at least you should get an idea of the range of that break. You know, and halfway through there roughly is at 15. So yeah, it could be a pretty ugly drop. The fib extension from the swing, the ABC swing here, not this one up here. The 1618 extension is down at 16, whereas the 100% extension is right on the daily Kijun-sen at 21. So 21 could be a pretty supportive zone all around. So that's an area I would pay very close attention to. And that does it for me on Shiba Inu.
Okay, perfect. So I have a quick question, Jonathan.
Sure.
So on the upside, how do you turn bullish on this thing? Because you were talking about the formation of a head and shoulders pattern, but
right.
What would you like to see for you to confirm that, you know,
I have to see a daily close around 31 to 32. Basically, it has to create a new all-time high close. The target on that, that would be, actually, I know that right off the top of my head. It's right around that 55 to 56 range is where that projected zone would be at.
Yeah. I completely agree with this. I mean, it does seem like the bullish target for this cryptocurrency is something between 50 and 60. While, you know, if things were to continue to decline, it does seem like that 21 level right there could add a significant support. Breaking below that level, as you said, could push it back down to, you know, what we saw basically in September around those levels. But
again, I mean, not to take up too much time here, but when you look at the length of consolidation that existed for Shiba, the breakout here still does not reflect the potential that should be seen. I mean, this is a very muted response still from the length of that congestion zone, that how long that lasted. This is still a very, very conservative response. I mean, it still has a lot more room to go just based on, you know, technical analysis theory. It hasn't really reached its potential swing high yet. It still has room to go. So this might be the first pause before the next expansion move to reach that zone.
Okay.
So, yeah, that does it for me.
Thank you for that explanation. What about you, Akash? Are you looking at something different from a lower time frame?
Yeah, I'm not bearish on Shiba, right? So my thesis is let me just go on a forward time frame, right? So this these two candles that I see here are like order blocks for me, and like that's what caused this price move higher, and it perfectly retested the 62 fib here, drawn from the range high from at a 0.40352 and this range low over here. So what am I expecting now? Right now I'm seeing, so if you draw the midpoint of this particular fib over here, it comes around 0.40276. And as you can see, it's being respected perfectly right now. So as long as Shiba stays above this level here and doesn't close below it, and coincidentally, right, having 50 fib here helps its case. As you can see here, it did close above it, and then it did manage to move a little higher. Right, but this time around, I believe if it does manage to close above this, there's a really good chance that Shiba could rally higher, reach a 70.5 fib, which is my first target level, and collect the liquidity resting above these two swing highs here, ranging from obviously 70 fib at 309 to 79 fib at 321. So this is what I'm expecting, right? If we do manage to close above, not close above, stay above these two levels here, move into this area over here. This would be roughly a 10 to probably a 14% upswing for sheep. That's what I'm looking at, right? But if we do close below this level here, blue line at 276, I'm expecting a move down to this zone. Let me just draw a all right, I move into this zone, but more particularly, I just this zone here, ranging from 237 to 257, is where I would expect SHIB to kind of stabilize, give the upswing another try. So this is my outlook.
Okay, okay. I mean, it does seem like basically the most significant level of resistance for you based on that Fibonacci, retracement indicator is around 29 cents, right? So basically breaking above 29 could potentially see it rise towards 30, 32, and then breaking above 32 will push it towards higher highs. Is that right? But do you believe that the current price levels are basically presenting a buying opportunity for investors?
So like I mentioned, right, it depends on how it reacts of these two levels, right? If it does react positively on these two levels and go higher, as Jonathan mentioned, this could be an inverse head and shoulders coming to fruition, like as you can see here.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
this,
Okay.
whatever happens here, we could see it go down, go up or down.
Okay. I see what you mean. So yeah, I mean, that the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern that you just drew right there sits around 29 cents, which coincides with what we're seeing from an on-chain perspective. So it does appear like a decisive close about 29 cents. For Jonathan, I believe that level is around 30. Could see this cryptocurrency fly towards 50 or even 60, right? But on the downside, any signs of weakness or any potential selling pressure could be contained by the 21 level, as based on an on-chain perspective, there is a lot of support in there and a lot of demand around that zone. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether Shiba Inu can finally break above 29 cents so that it can basically advance higher and potentially make a higher high based on what Akash has drawn in there around 36 cents. But I do not see significant resistance ahead of Shiba. So I believe that a decisive close about 29 could, yeah, it could bring it to 36 cents, then a brief correction, and then head towards 50 or even 60. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what this cryptocurrency finally ends up doing. But while we wait and see what Shiba Inu does, you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter so you can be updated about the hottest cryptocurrencies in the market.